I should have seen the red flags sooner. Elise was a whirlwind from the start. Brilliant, magnetic, a force that could bend a room to her will with just a glance. She thrived in the cutthroat world of advertising, where charisma often trumped competence and ambition was worn like perfume. I admired her drive. I fell for her fire. But somewhere along the climb, her vision narrowed, and her dreams no longer made space for both of us. They became all about her and her ascent to the top. The change was subtle at first. Late-night meetings that didn't quite add up, business trips with vague agendas, a new edge to her confidence, sharp, almost haughty, that seemed less about self-assurance and more about distance. When I voiced my concern, she'd laugh, brushing it off as insecurity. "Don't be so sensitive," she'd say, urging me to be proud of her success. But beneath her polished surface, the warmth was fading. What we had, what we built, was slowly being replaced by something cold and calculated. Then came the night that shattered everything. It was a Wednesday evening. I had just finished setting the table for dinner when Elise walked in. She didn't just enter the room. She made an entrance. She wore a floor-length emerald gown that shimmered with every step. Her makeup was flawless, dramatic, and her heels echoed with authority across the floor. She looked breathtaking, but not like the woman I'd shared a life with. She looked like someone ready for seduction, not a work function. I started, unsure how to finish the thought. She smiled casual and sharp. "I'm having dinner with Victor tonight," she said, breezing past me. Victor, her boss, the same man who sent her messages at 2 a.m. and hovered around her like a shadow. My stomach turned. Victor? The one who emails you about campaign synergy at insane hours. She rolled her eyes, brushing my suspicion aside. He wants to talk to me about a director position. Says I'm perfect for it. I stared at her. You didn't mention anything about this. She leaned against the counter, lazily spinning her car keys between her fingers. It just came up. That's how these things work. I studied her, really looked at her. You're meeting your married boss in a dress that belongs at a gala and calling it professional dinner? That's when her lips curled into a condescending smile, one that still haunts me. "James," she said, with pity in her voice, "you have to play the game to get ahead. You wouldn't understand. You've always stayed in your lane." That was the moment everything changed. It wasn't just a boundary she crossed. It was a deliberate destruction of trust. And she didn't flinch. As she turned to leave, she tossed over her shoulder, "Don't wait up." She thought I'd stay there, silent, wounded, and compliant. But I was no longer the man who swallowed his doubts and held his tongue. While she chased power, I quietly built a fortress of truth. That night, I opened my laptop and accessed a private cloud folder, one she didn't know existed. Her erratic behavior had gnawed at me for weeks, and something inside me had whispered prepare. So I did. I had saved flirtatious texts between her and Victor, captured brief voice snippets from our smart speaker, one in which he bragged to a friend about being this close to the director job by staying persuasive. There was even a hotel booking under her maiden name. The evidence was damning. Thursday morning, she returned at 6:47 a.m. Her makeup was smeared, her gown wrinkled, and there was no pretense of innocence. She dropped her purse on the floor and declared, "He offered me the role. Executive director. Full benefits. It's happening." I looked at her, my face unreadable. I sipped my tea and said, simply, "Congratulations." She blinked, thrown off by my calm. She must have expected outrage, a confrontation, maybe even apology for doubting her. Instead, I let silence fill the space. She thought she'd won, that she'd outmaneuver me, securing a title while keeping me as her fallback. But I'd already made my move. That afternoon, I met with the attorney I had contacted weeks before. I didn't want chaos. I wanted clarity, strategy. I sent an anonymous email to her company's ethics committee, attaching all the evidence. Then I mailed a carefully curated package to Victor's wife, a respected local philanthropist. Inside were screenshots, a detailed timeline, and the hotel receipt. By Monday, Elisa's world was crumbling. She was called into a closed-door meeting with HR and legal. Her promotion was frozen pending an internal review. Victor was placed on administrative leave the next day. Elise came home early Mascara Street, carrying a cardboard box of her office belongings. They said I violated conduct rules, she sobbed. They're doing a full investigation. I met her eyes, steady and still. You said I didn't understand bold moves. I replied, turns out I do. She stared at me in disbelief. You did this. I nodded once. She broke. The tears came fast now. James, please, we can fix this. I did it for us, for our future. I never meant to hurt you. But she had. She just never expected me to stand up for myself. I rose from the chair, picked up the overnight bag I had packed the night. She smiled at me like I was a fool and slung it over my shoulder. You chose this path, I said. I just made sure you reached the end a little faster. She called after me, her voice breaking, her apology tangled in sobs. But I kept walking. The door closed behind me with quiet finality, and I didn't look back. Not at her, not at the ruin she created. What came next was a life stripped of lies, of manipulation, of compromise without care. I built something honest, peaceful, mine.